All right, so you've been given a vision by the Lord. He's told you what he wants you to do. He's shown you who you are and what his plan for you is. Joseph was given a vision. His brothers would bow down to him, his mother and father. Nobody understood his vision. God showed him that he was going to rule. The brothers got jealous. They sold him into slavery. He ends up getting put in prison. And eventually, after he goes through some stuff, he becomes a ruler in Egypt. The Pharaoh gives him authority over everything. He's second in command to the Pharaoh. And then his brothers and his father did come and bow before him, as God showed him would happen. But it was many years in the making. God had to prepare him to be the man who he's calling him to be. And God made it so that it would happen by all the hardships that God brought him through. He became the man God wanted him to be. Mary, poor Mary, she's told by the angel, you're going to have a baby, you virgin. Everybody thinks she's an adulteress. She gives birth to this child, and then she's got to wait 30 years to see God's promise come to pass. He starts teaching, he starts leading, he starts doing miracles, all the things that she tucked away in her heart, right? It took a while, but then it came to pass. Abraham, he's told, you're going to have a son in your old age, and Abraham was tested in that waiting period, and Abraham thought, God's not making it happen, what he told me he's going to do, so I'm going to make it happen on my own. And he gets Hagar pregnant. She has Ishmael, but that's not God's purpose and plan. Now, God knows from the beginning, the end. So God knows that that's what was going to happen. It was all a part of the process of teaching Abraham. And ultimately, God gave Isaac to Abraham. But it wasn't in the time frame that Abraham wanted it to be. Jacob, he falls in love with Rachel. Now, God's making him maybe suffer for some of the things that Jacob had done because he was a little bit devious. But Jacob has to work for Laban 7 years, then he gets tricked into marrying Leah. And then he finally gets Rachel. He has to continue working another 7 years. He had to wait for what God showed him to come to pass. And then he wrestles with God. And he is Israel. Jacob had a big part in the story. Jesus, he's 12 years old. He's in the temple teaching. He's doing his father's business. But his earthly ministry doesn't start till he's 30. At the age of 20, if he'd wanted to get ahead of God's plan and been like, I'm ready, he wouldn't have been ready. If he'd been a 20-year-old man, 25-year-old man, 29-year-old man, going around ahead of God's ways, ahead of God's timing, it wouldn't have worked out the way God had it planned. Paul, he sees the light. He spends years and years and years learning before he goes into his public ministry. They all had, in some way, a vision or a word from God, something telling them who they are, what their purpose is, what God's plan for them is, but they had to wait. They had to wait because they wouldn't be ready. God doesn't tell us and then it's like go time. No, he prepares us. He lets us know ahead of time, and then he prepares us. And sometimes that's hardship. He's got to refine us. He's got to make us ready for the calling he has for us. He's got to make us ready. God has given me visions and things he told me about when I was an early Christian. One was he said, I'm gonna preach to a lot of people. That still hasn't happened, but lots and lots and lots of people. God's going to have me teaching That hasn't happened. He's given me promises about my music. I mean, my music's going to be well known. My name will be known. That hasn't happened yet. And there's other things. God has given me really big promises for what my future is, my personal future. But it hasn't come to pass. He's teaching me to be obedient to him, to hear from him, to learn from him. In terms of the songwriting, I don't think I've written my best songs yet. When I first started writing songs, now God was directing every song I write, telling me what to write about, but it was my skill set. I was like not a very good songwriter. And then I got a little bit better. And then I got a little bit better. And I've continued getting a little bit better. He didn't just make me an excellent songwriter overnight, but one day I will be known for my songs. Why do I know that? Because God told me so, and I believe him. But like Joseph, there's a waiting period. There's a waiting period. So I'm just saying that to encourage you to remember that. I mean, Moses waited many, many years. He wasn't told maybe when he was a baby, but he was chosen when he was a baby. And then at 40, he has to leave Egypt. He spends 40 years being a sheep herder. And then God speaks to him, sends him back to Egypt, has him do what he's doing, leads the people out. And then they wander in the wilderness for 40 years because the people they got the wrong heart. So he makes them wander around for 40 years. And then after all of that, God says, you're not going to see the promised land, Moses. But he was given a promise that the people would be brought into the promised land. So we don't know God's ways. We don't know God's ways. But in the times of waiting, we learn his ways. All right, here's the song. Not one of my best songs, but it's a teaching song. That's what I do. I teach. One last thing. Regarding the vision, I will share with you what God has told me. And God has shown me visions of where my music's going to be played. Famous places. I'm going to win awards. God has told me the awards I'm going to win one day. I mean, and I've told some people and they're like, and the music is not my main calling. That's just like a part of it. Vision. But you know what God told me? He said, do nothing to make it happen. I will do everything. And I tried to explain that to people, and I've had some people say some really horrible things to me. But they don't understand. I believe God. God wants us to believe him. He said, do nothing. I will make it all happen. So I'm not to seek out other musicians. I'm not to try to get my music heard by people. I'm not to try to make it happen at all. God will get all the glory. He will make it happen. I don't know how, if somebody's going to come across my music and hear it and contact me and see what God's doing and want to produce it, maybe. I don't know if it's going to maybe happen after I'm gone. I mean, maybe it's something that happens once I'm no longer on this earth. Maybe. But God said, I will do all of it. Because it's going to be a testimony to his goodness and his promises and his sovereignty. And it will be a testament to the faith I have in him, that if he says something's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I just need to wait on him to do it all. He wants that kind of faith from his children, to trust that he will make it happen. So I just wanted to share that additional encouragement. Now here's the song. I have had a vision. It came to me at night of the purpose you have for me. I have had a vision. It came to me at night, and it is plain to see. But I don't want to get ahead of you. I don't want to think I know your ways. I don't want to get ahead of you. I don't want to think I know your ways. I have had a vision. It came to me at night. I've tried to share, but no one understands. I have had a vision. It came to me at night. Prepare me, Lord, to wait for what's to come. 'Cause I don't want to get ahead of you. I don't want to think I know your ways. I don't want to get ahead of you. I don't want to think I know your ways. I have had a vision. It came to me at night of the purpose you have for me. I have had a vision. It came to me at night, and it is so plain to see. I have had a vision. It came to me at night. I've tried to share, but no one understands. I have had a vision. It came to me at night. Prepare me, Lord, to wait for what's to come. I don't want to get ahead of you. I don't want to think I know your ways. I don't want to just start running ahead, implementing what God has shown me if it's not your time yet, God. And he's not going to let it happen outside of when he wants it to happen anyway. So part of the training is he teaches us how to wait on the vision. He teaches us to wait on the vision. And sometimes that means we go through a little bit of heartburn. We go through a little bit of trials, testing, waiting. But learning to wait on the Lord means we're ready. All right, just something to think about. God bless you.